I don't want to play it.
Okay.
It's recording though. Dragon Yogi, I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back.
Namo Buddhaya Bhante, been on retreat. So grateful
Oh,
to see you.
oh, good.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Namo Buddhaya Sangha.
Yeah. This way, hear Dhamma for a while and then you got to meditate on it to let it sink in.
I like what you told us. Repetition, repetition, repetition. So grateful. Thank you.
You're welcome. So what was I going to do? Oh, the recording. Yeah.
Recording paused. Resume recording. Should be good.
This camera also, I want to keep it like this. Oh, well, I don't want to. Shows too much of the ceiling. Oh, that way, okay.
A little bit more.
This thing doesn't stay put. I want to keep it like that. Okay, friends. So let's go ahead and begin with reciting the Namo Tassa and the three refuges for those who like to join. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. So welcome, friends, to this Wednesday evening Dhamma discussion and meditation practice. So I hope you're all able to receive the weekly mailing I sent out on, I believe, Sunday, that had the attachment for the topic that we're going to be beginning to go over this week, tonight. On the five aggregates. Now, the five aggregates, of course, is a topic we've talked quite a lot about and gone over it even in details on several different previous occasions. But it's one of the most important topics of meditation for developing insight, and especially for the vipassana kind of meditation, insight meditation, that leads to gaining wisdom. And they're oftentimes not fully understood because there's lots of different nuances with them. So I'm going to share that screen. And this is an article that I had written recently that will be published in a journal called the Samadhi Journal in September, I believe. So I wanted to go over that. See, now it shows the YouTube thing there.
Click on the Microsoft Edge browser Bhante, at the very bottom. Next to that.
See, this is how it happens.
That's interesting. May I try?
Hold on, folks. I don't know why this is always happening. Okay, here we go. So can you all see this shared screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. Well, if you can see it, I guess everyone else could see it. So, the Buddha actually, devised his teachings because of the five aggregates, because those are what are the essence of suffering, the delusion and not understanding what the five aggregates are, and that's stated in the very Four Noble Truths. So that's why I quoted that here in the beginning. You can see that what is the truth of suffering? It's that birth, old age, and death is suffering. Getting what you want, getting what you don't want is suffering. And in short, the five aggregates subject to clinging are suffering. So whatever form there is, whether past, future, or present, internal or external, gross or subtle, inferior or superior, far or near, that is tainted, that means that can be clung to with desire or aversion or delusion, this is included in the form aggregate. Now, this form aggregate basically is anything material form that's made up of the primary elements of earth, fire, water, and air. But this is misconstrued and not really understood fully. And that's what I'm going to be trying to describe. This article is a deep dive to the root of suffering, not a superficial dive, a deep dive. But a lot of people can take these five aggregates kind of superficially. Oh, five aggregates, yeah, five aggregates. But they don't really understand them. So, and then whatever feeling, anyway, I'm not going to repeat all this because you can read it there. And whatever kind of consciousness that is clung to it. Again, we cling to it as I, me, or mine. And basically, the five aggregates are everything that make up the world, the body, our own body, the mind, as well as everything in the conditioned world. So this earth, the planets, the solar system, this is all is an element of form. That means it's something we can see or feel. They're made up of the four elements of earth, fire, water, and air. But even these earth, fire, and water, and air, now what are they really? People say earth, fire, water, air. Well, there's the earth, or there's air. So it means, okay, we say the body, all elements of matter are made up of cells, molecules, atoms, electrons, protons, and neutrons, if you break it down. And that's what the Buddha was telling about. These four elements are simply the way that electrons, how many electrons are circulating around the nucleus of an atom, how many atoms are there in a molecule, and what kind of configurations, how many molecules make up a cell. All of those determine whether it's going to be a hard fingernail or a piece of flesh, or whether it's going to be a drop of blood or a tear, or it's going to be some heat in the body, or it's the air, even oxygen that we breathe in, right? It's O2. That means two, come on, you biologists, help me out, chemists, two atoms of oxygen, right? Anyway, H2O, that's easier, okay. H2, two atoms of hydrogen, an atom of oxygen equal a drop of water. Okay, so that's the meaning of it, that all of the elements are just basically combinations of molecules, atoms, and essentially electrons. Because the number of electrons that go around an atom start creating the kind of an object that its properties it's going to have. So basically, what are electrons? Why do they call them electrons? Well, I guess because it's kind of like electricity, some kind of life force. And so this is the way that we should try to understand on a deeper level. Again, this is a deep dive into what is called the Rupa Dhatu, or the earth element. Now, I prefer to call them vibrations rather than elements. Because if you ask an ordinary physicist, and you say the earth element, you'll probably talk about, copper and magnesium and things like that. But it's really the atoms and molecules and cells that are the vibrating. So when you feel something, the sound is a vibration of the air element and other things. Or if you feel you're squeezing your arm with your hand, okay, you feel some resistance there, some hardness. So the earth element is anything that's felt as being hard or soft, whether it's internal or external. It could be in your body, it could be outside in a cat's body, or in the soil or anywhere. And the same with the element of water, whether it's internal water element, like urine in your bladder or tear running down your eyes, or the external water element, such as coming through your tap at home, or raindrops, or a flood. So anything that you relate to as being I, me, or mine, or afraid of and have learned, then that's how we experience the world, or the world is made up of just giving names and labels to condensed energy. So I like to see the earth element or the form matter as just energy vibrations, you could call. But so anytime we see something, Now, even right now, you're looking at the screen, you might see this image here. Okay, but that's really some color and some electrons and some energy that's going through, electric circuits and then producing an image on your screen. That's not my head actually going into your screen. So it's simply an image that's made up of, made up of these shapes and colors. So anyway, and the air element is what allows for, of course, the air going in and out with the breathing and the wind blowing in the external world. And it allows for movement. In other words, there's a lot of air in the body. There's spaces between the cells of the body. Otherwise, you'd be like a piece of cement. You wouldn't be able to move. So when you have a thought in your mind to lift your arm, that's diffusing the air element between the cells and allowing, let's say, the arm to lift up. It's sort of like hydraulics. You all know what a hydraulic is, right? On tractors and so on. So that's oil that's being pushed through these pipes, causing the bucket of a tractor to lift up. So it's very similar in whenever we're any part of your body, even to blink your eye or to move your finger, or turn your head. It's the intention in the mind, the impulse in the mind that wants to look or do something that stimulates that air element to diffuse through the tissues to cause whatever particular movement. Okay, so you can see from a biological perspective, the body is made up of billions of cells. We've already talked about that. And so, at a microscopic level, matter is, again, something like this highly condensed energy, but it's a little bit more complicated than just that. But we don't see it like that. We see these parts only. We see it, my hand, my head, food, or whatever. But, and that's the way we, get attached to those objects. So anyway, all four of these elements are present in every internal or external material form. So even a piece of concrete has air, fire, and water element in it, but its characteristic is predominantly one of hardness, the earth element. So even in your tears of saliva in your mouth, there's also an earth element, air element, and fire element, but in minuscule forms, and it's predominantly the water element. So that's the way we try to understand these elements, that everything in the material world is simply made up of these, different combinations of atoms, molecules, atoms, cells, and so on. And we'll get more on that later. So the second aggregate is the feeling, or Vedana. And these are the feelings arise from the contact with the earth element. The earth element is any one of the five physical senses. So something you hear, that's material form. So anything you hear is a material form, anything you see is a material form, everything you smell or taste or even touch on the body, that's the material form that's made up of these four elements. Now, when they arise with contact. In other words, if I don't grab my arm, I'm not going to have that feeling of hardness in the arm. Or anything, if the wind doesn't blow on your head, you're not going to have that sensation or idea that the wind is blowing on my head. It needs the contact. So these physical vibrations, forms arise due to contact. And it sends a vibration through the nervous system. In other words, when you, like the example of I grab my arm and squeeze, now that's squeezing molecules and atoms and cells together, which send vibrations through the nervous system, to the brain, saying, hey, it's feeling the hand. So while it's going to the brain, from the sense organ to the brain, these vibrations that are going through the body are recognized as this is something that's pleasurable, or this is something that's painful, or many of them are neutral. So all these feelings, the aggregate of feelings basically, are the pleasant, painful, or neutral vibrations that are being triggered off by the contact with the form. But it happens so quickly, we don't really see or understand what is going on. But we form attachment to the pleasurable feelings, and we form aversion to painful feelings. And pretty much we kind of just ignore the neutral feelings. The neutral feelings don't really cause us to create much karma about, but it's the pleasant feelings, whether it's a sight, sound, smell, you smell a beautiful, a nice smell, fresh coffee in the morning, and then, the perception of that's coffee. Now that's actually the next aggregate, is the perception. But it's really the painful and pleasant feelings that are arising due to contact are that trigger off all of our thoughts and reactions. But these are conditioned from the time you were a baby and started to learn language. The baby feels painful feelings, of course, and that like when his diapers are not clean, and so it might start crying if his diapers are dirty, and because there's an unpleasant feeling there. But then there's a pleasant feeling when the mother holds it and very gently, and or it's taking milk from the mother, or other pleasant feelings. But all these feelings are constantly arising and passing away many, many times over again. Now, the third aggregate is perception, or sanya. Now, this is very interesting because this is where the world starts to be created. With the feeling itself, there's just a mental reaction of either like or dislike. But then you recognize that perception is the way the brain, the memory is really the memory of the brain, and the way that the brain turns a vibration into an object, such as, again, my image on your screen, or even the print on this shared document, because you learned English and you understand that. The mind brain identifies these vibrations, visible vibrations, as a certain word. Or like my face, you identify that as being a Bhante Rahula, for example, or that Buddha image in the background, or that lion statue. But basically it's just the memory recreating these colors that are impacting on your eye in whatever shape they are or have been. So perceptions are how the mind turns a sensory vibration, basically an empty sensory vibration that doesn't mean anything, into a defined thing or an object. And it remembers that impression. The memory remembers that. And then each time you see the same object again, the same reaction will arise in the mind. And it arises automatically with contact, feeling, and now these things, contact, form, feeling, and perception, they arise in a nanosecond. And they arise many, many, many times over again. And this is a very deep level of Buddhist psychology. But that is where the world arises, where all these perceptions, you look around and your mind is identifying all these objects. That's the external world. But yet it's coming from the contents of the internal world, the mind, the habits in the mind. That's what's important to understand. But anyway, so we take these perceptions as unquestionably real and identify with them and develop preferences and aversions, love and hates around these objects as we grow up, because we learn these habits from our parents, from now, of course, the media and all those things. You go to school, you learn from your teachers, and everything. The mind has created these perceptions, and so you can identify. You hear a sound, even just a sound. Oh, the mind is saying, that's a bird chirping, that's so-and-so talking, that's a door slamming, that's somebody belching. The mind has remembered all these sound vibrations and created these perceptions. So to keep it simple, perception is basically the kind of the name or label that the mind creates for any of these sensory impingements. Okay. Now the fourth aggregate is the mental volitions. And these basically are the ways that we react to the feelings and perceptions. That means we react to them, either with like or dislike, or with anger or greed, or so it's the whole. The aggregate means a collection, so it's a collection of all the ways that we've reacted to the feelings and perceptions our whole life. And so they call them mental formations or volitional formations. And it includes all of your emotions and all of the mental factors, including, concentration and mindfulness and stinginess and pride and conceit. And, there's 52 mental factors or mental formations listed in the Abhidhamma. But it also includes thoughts, emotions, bodily and mental reactions. So if you have an itch and you raise your arm up to scratch an itch, that's the mind, having an unpleasant feeling, and then recognizing it as an itch, the desire to get rid of it, and then causing the air element to lift your arm up and rub up and down, and then put it back down. That's stimulating the air element so that your body moves in order to get what you wanted or get away from what you didn't want. So the mind is constantly reacting to everything that comes through the senses. And basically the volitional formations or the sankhara are the results of our karma. So it's the habits. I like to call them habit formations because they're really the way that they're the habits that we take all the time in reacting to things. Especially with the body, every time you want to, pick your nose or move your head or body or anything, all these belong to the volitional formations, which are habits, and they're connected with the feelings and perceptions. So this is the way we have to start thinking like this to understand how these aggregates operate. Now, I'm just going to mention the last one, is the consciousness. Now, the consciousness is probably the most difficult one to understand or to really to see clearly. But it's the knowing faculty. But unless you're an arhat, the consciousness has the sense of I with it. And it causes things it creates that subject-object kind of purification within the mind, within the mental process. The sense that the consciousness is here, I am here, and those objects are out there or on this body. So the ego consciousness, probably the easiest way that I like to describe it is basically the ego consciousness, although there's some forms of consciousness that may not have the sense of ego with it, but for all intents and purposes, all human beings and people that are still locked into their karma, they have that ego consciousness until one attains enlightenment. Okay, so anyway, I'm not going to go too much further into that because I want to see if there's any questions just on what we've gone over so far about these 5 aggregates. And because, again, this is the main topic of wisdom. The deepest level of wisdom is understanding how these aggregates are impermanent, a source of suffering if you identify them as I, me, or mine, and that ignorance, not understanding really what they are, and especially not understanding how the ego has come to cling and identify these aggregates as being itself or belonging to itself. And that kind of wisdom, the wisdom, these things have to be understood on 3 levels. First is the intellectual level. Okay, I just gave a talk on it. You might say, okay, you read a sutra about it. Okay, it sounds okay, but it's an intellectual understanding. But then as you go on, you start practicing meditation, and you learn how to kind of stop reacting too much to everything that's coming through and to observe, then you understand how these are just habits that are keep getting recreated from moment to moment, and they're not really yourself. You think you're doing it, but actually it's just the habits that are doing it. So, that's what is called the Chintamaya Panya, the wisdom that comes through reflection, thinking and reflecting on what you might have read or heard about. And then there's the Bhavanamaya Panya, or the understanding of these that arises when you attain the levels of enlightenment, where you attain at least the levels of the jhana or the insight knowledges. And that's why they're not easy to understand and why people get some confusion about them, because most people haven't developed the concentration, mindfulness and concentration to the high degree needed to gain that kind of Bhavanamaya Panya. So I'm going to stop there, and I hope that these things need to be read many times over again. And in the rest of this article, I'm going to go in more detail and go over them. Continue this discussion next week. But so now I want to stop sharing the screen, and I want to now open it up to any questions that anybody might have. Let me see what is in the chat box. Okay, there's this chat from Michael. How does the fourth foundation of mindfulness, mind objects, interact with the 5 aggregates? What is its relationship to them? Well, the fourth foundation of mindfulness is Dhammanupassana. And the Dhammanupassana are the mental factors. If you've read the Dhammanupassana, the first topic of Dhammanupassana is the 5 hindrances: sense desire, ill will, sleepiness, agitation, and doubts. These are body and mental defilements or habits that we have been accumulating. So they belong to the aggregates of the fourth aggregate, the mental formations, or even to some extent the perceptions too. So they're intimately bound up. The foundation of mindfulness is understanding how these things arise and how they increase in their strength or how they decrease in their strength, all depending on the way you react to them or not react to them. So the Dhammanupassana is all about understanding these aggregates at a deeper level. The first 3 foundations of mindfulness, body, feelings, and mental states, they're on one level understanding them at a certain elementary level, but in the Dhammanupassana, you're really getting into the more in-depth nitty-gritty about their total interaction and how they all interact with each other. So I hope that was fairly clear. This next question from Damon. You say we are made of cells, but cells are just a human-made concept. Well, physicists might object and want to argue that with you. I don't know.
Well, you say that cells and other forms are really just vibrations, right?
Well, if you dissect it all the way down to its smallest atoms, any biologist or physicist is going to tell you that that's what this body is. It's just billions and billions of cells, molecules, when you break them down.
Right, but that's these are concepts, right? A thing called a cell, a biologist, came along and observed these things. He says, oh, let's call that a cell. But from your standpoint, from our Buddhist standpoint, these things are really just so much more elemental. Like you said, they're just processes of fluidity, firmness, different elements that you mentioned that make up form, right? They can't even really be described as something as solid as a cell.
Well, ask a biologist that.
No, I'm asking you.
Well,
I don't accept the biology. I accept Buddhism.
well, then you haven't penetrated it deep enough.
Okay.
Because, you look in a mirror and you say, that's Damon. What's the difference between a biologist saying that your hand is made up of cells? I mean, so anyway,
Yeah,
know,
I am Damon, but that's on a conventional level. It's helpful to think of me as a person, but I am, the Buddha said I am actually empty of Damonness. I don't have any inherent right existence as a daemon, right? That's just yeah.
well, yeah,
All right.
because you could have been something else. If your parents could have given you another name, then you wouldn't have been a Damon.
Exactly.
Or if you would have had a girl body, you might have gotten some other kind of name or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, the idea is behind all this is the wisdom and understanding that we develop from understanding these aggregates in their deep, deeper level. It says, my battery is running low. Oh, I forgot to turn this on. That's my bad. The way this computer's hooked up, there's a button you have to press. Okay, hopefully it's charging up now. Okay, so let's get back to Bhaskar. Everything is human-made concept, isn't it? Yeah, when a baby is born, it doesn't know anything. It doesn't know anything. It has to be taught through language. Your mother says, that's kitty, that's brother, that's daddy, that's whatever, and so we learn, the brain learns these, concepts and, the perceptions and concept, but then we get attached to these things and especially with the pleasure and pain that these objects bring us. That's what we are attracted to, is the pleasure or pain that arises from any of these contacts. We like the ones that give us pleasurable feelings, and we don't like the ones that bring us unpleasant or painful feelings. So here Bhaskara is saying, sociologists deal with humans, biologists deal with cells, chemists deal with biochemical elements, physicists deal with atomic composition. So yeah, that's a good breakdown of those. Okay. Tell me what to read in Abhidhamma specifically that describes what you say.
That was a question for Bhaskara, because at the end of his comment, he said, Abhidhamma describes even lower level than physical elements which are to do with mind.
Yes, but the Abhidhamma can be confusing. Is in my view too complicated.
Yeah.
If you just read the suttas over and over and over again, you'll get all the understanding you need to get really from those, as long as you also develop your meditation practice.
Right.
There's a question from Jack. How do I decompose observation to the aggregates in seated meditation? Okay, if you're seated in meditation, your buttocks are pressing the seat, right? But you call it, I'm sitting. But actually, what are you, or your buttocks? That's not going to your brain. A sensation is going to your brain, which then matches up that vibration that it's learned and said, that's my buttocks pressing the seat, that's my knees bent in this way. And then it identifies I'm sitting. But it does so from the vibrations that are being stimulated by that contact. So that's the way you decompose the aggregate of form into the earth element. And so when you're seated in meditation, if a tear runs down your eye, don't say, "Oh, why is that tear?" No, it's earth vibration. You identify this is earth vibration. Or if you feel hot, you call it this is the heat vibration. Or if there's some wind, your breath is going in and out. This is the air element and causing movement, causing your chest to expand and contract. So that's the way we decompose these elements, these aggregates, while we're meditating. Or a feeling arises. Oh, this is a painful feeling. But you just observe it. Oh, what is this feeling? Okay, it's just vibrations in the nervous system, or it's flesh and bones pressing hard together, producing these vibrations. And so many different, the Vedanas are coming through. Or even mental feeling, maybe sadness arises, or anger that there's too much pain in the body, or whatever. These are triggered off by the contacts, and you identify them as being mine or me that's doing it. So this is that Chintamaya Panya, the second level of wisdom that I mentioned, that you develop while you're meditating. You take a whole meditation period and just go through and try to identify these elements. First, the form element. Okay, anything that feels hard, train yourself. Well, that's the earth vibration. You feel saliva in your mouth, the water vibration, fluid vibration. You hear a sound, just the sound vibration. So you try not to create the perceptions out of the vibrations. You try to minimize the amount of perception and just break them down to these fundamental types of, these vibrations, the earth vibration, water vibration, heat vibration, movement vibration. That's the way you decompose them.
If I may,
Or you can, even in the mindfulness of the body, the mindfulness, 4 foundations of mindfulness of the body, you can decompose. First you say, oh, I have this body. But what's this body made of? Decompose it. Okay, there's a right hand, there's a left hand, there's a right foot, there's a stomach, there's a spleen, there's eyeballs, there's teeth, there's skin. You decompose it. That means you're breaking it down from the whole that we get attached to into the parts. So that's the first stage, you do that. And that's why the mindfulness of the body starts with that. It goes from the grosser observations to the subtler and subtler observations.
are you? Can I ask a question? Thank you.
Okay.
Are you referring to? I'm still very early in my understanding of this, but I read something called I'm probably going to say it wrong. Mahasatipatthana Sutta, which
Yes,
like sort of
Mahasatipatthana.
Patana, and it broke down. It began with observing like the 32 elements of your body, and then you're saying basically, then you can go a layer down to these 4 elements, and that's specifically just exploring form.
Yeah. So you have the whole body, then you have just 32 parts. And then those parts are just made up of earth, fire, water, and air elements. Then those elements are broken down into just molecules, atoms, and electrons, if you want to go that far.
Okay. And if I just want to make sure that I'm understanding, this is like a paraphrase of what you're saying, but it sounds like you're saying essentially your consciousness, this is my understanding, and I'm just wondering if this is accurate, that essentially there's almost a kind of working up these different aggregates into larger forms. And you're saying basically instead of your habit, which is that 4th level, is to just work up these layers. And you're sort of saying when you're seated in meditation, or eventually when you're walking around, just try to catch it at its level and don't necessarily like let it develop, experience it at that lower level. Would that be accurate?
Well, all 5 of those aggregates come together pretty much at the same time, but you can identify certain aspects, like the physical pain of it might stand out more than the actual perception of the object that you're observing, and so on, or the other thoughts. So, but whatever it is that it catches your attention the most, you identify it. If it's a feeling, it's like an itch arises, you just be an unpleasant feeling. You see how the mind has this, like tries to pull away from it. So that's an unpleasant reaction. So you identify unpleasant feeling. Or if you hear a nice sound, you can catch the mind wanting to, oh, that's, pleasant feeling. So in the beginning, it's very good to work on identify those feelings that are arising.
Okay. And I think if I understand that connects to what your metaphor later in what the material that you shared about the soup is all together, but you can taste the flavors even if you can't decompose the soup.
Yeah. Well, I mean, only somebody who's like an arahant or somebody who's attained the highest jhanas might be able to notice those minute, microscopic types of
Oh,
elemental vibrations. So don't worry about that too much.
yeah, yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate
Okay.
it.
Okay, friends, the time is getting away. So a lot of these questions are questions that, of course, will come up, when we go deeper into this article that I wrote as well. So I think we're going to stop with that now. So we can still have some few exercises, do some yoga stretches, and get the elements, activate these elemental vibrations in the body. So, but all those questions were good questions, and so let's take a couple minutes break, come back, and we'll do some stretches to get into the body. That's the first stage, is actually getting your attention centered in the body before you can actually start trying to observe it. And so the yoga exercises is one of the better ways to do that. Okay? So we'll see you back in a few minutes.
Good discussion tonight, guys. Great questions. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, friends, let's try to stand straight, relax your shoulders and arms at the sides. Just gently close your eyes. Just focus your attention down to feel the feet pressing the floor. Just feel that solid contact of your feet to the floor, kind of solidity. That's the earth vibration. Feet making contact with the floor. The feeling of solidity is, just waves of energy going from the outer body to the brain, creates a perception. Anyway, now feel your head balanced on top. Feel your eyes in the sockets. Begin some deep, slow breathing. Feel the expanding abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Hold the air in for 2 or 3 seconds and slowly breathe out. Try to feel the last bit of air go out on the out breath. Take several more breaths like that, developing this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Hold the breath a second. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we're going to combine this breathing with these movements. The idea in this is to try to feel those physical vibrations that are being generated by the stretching and breathing, creating those elemental vibrations due to the contacts. So on the next in-breath, raise your arms over the head, interlock the fingers, turn the palms up, stretch the hands up, stretch your head back, stretch up, feel the sensations, and release your fingers on the out breath. Feel the air going out as the arms come back down to the sides. Again, in breath, hands over the head, stretch up. Feel the sensations, out breath. While doing this, those physical sensations, the earth element, your hands touching, stretching, the air is the air element. Might feel heat in the body, warmth, heat element. Once more, stretch up, bend back, feel the arch in the spine, feel the sensations, out breath, feel the clothing touching the skin, it's also the earth vibration. Just relax, close your eyes. Just feel your feet pressing the floor. Feel your arms and hands hanging at the sides. You feel some tingling or pulsation in your hands or fingers. If you imagine the blood pulsing in your hands, the water vibration, fluid vibration, clothing touching your skin, earth vibration. Okay, on the next in-breath, lift up on the balls of the feet while raising the arms over the head. Face the hands toward each other and stretch up. Out breath, come back down, arms to the sides, feel the air go out. Use the in-breath air element like hydraulics to lift the body up. Out breath, air going out, arms come back down, just like hydraulics. Once more, in, stretch. Out. Relax, close the eyes. Start to feel the outline of the body, whatever sensations are the most predominant. The earth element, earth vibration, painful feeling, pleasant feeling. Okay, next we'll do side bending. On the in-breath, raise both arms up. Keep your fingers and arms straight, close to your head. On the out-breath, bend over the right side. Keep the arms parallel to each other like railroad tracks. In-breath, lift up. And the other side, out-breath. Feel the stretch in the side. In-breath up. Again to the right, out-breath. In, out. In, once more to each side. On the out breath, lower both arms. The air element, hydraulics, allowing the arms to come down. You just feel and recognize those four elements. Clothes touching the skin, earth element, feet pressing the floor, earth element. With breathing, the air element. Might feel some aches or pains. Might feel warmth or coolness. Fire element. Thoughts in the mind. Call the mind element. Okay, now spread your legs apart about 3 feet. Hold the arms out to the side. We do twisting from right to left. Breathe in. On the out breath, twist to the right. Keep your eyes focused on the hand going back. Feel the different sensations. In breath, come back to the front. And let your feet turn with the body. Twist to the other side, out breath. In breath, front. Keep alternating side, breathing, feel all those different vibrations. Once more to each side. Come back to the front, out breath, relax. Feel each foot pressing the floor. Feel some subtle pulsations in your hands or fingers. Feel the clothing touching the skin. All these different sensations are just one or other of the four elements. Creating this form, this idea of this standing body. Now we're going to do forward and backward bending. Let's be careful with the back bends. Breathe in. On the out breath, bend forward. Let your hands come to your kneecaps. First time, keep the head lifted up, looking out straight ahead. And keep your legs straight, the arms straight. Flatten the spine. Feel the stretch sensation in your legs, arms. In breath, lift up. Move the hands under the buttocks for support. On the out breath, gently bend backwards. Keep your eyes open, not too far the first time. Feel the sensations, back arch. Carefully lift up on the in-breath. The second time, let your hands come down below your knees. Still keep the head lifted up, legs straight. You come down below the knees. Feel the extra stretch in the leg muscles. Let the little bones in the lower spine stretch out. The spine joins the sacrum bone, pelvis. In breath, lift up. Again, the back bend, just be careful, out breath. In. On the third time, let the hands come down as far as you can towards your ankles or feet. Then hold on there longer. Feel that stretch in the leg muscles. Let the little bones in the lower spine stretch out. Just feel all those sensations. Earth element, air element, heat element, maybe the water element, saliva in your mouth. They'll begin lifting up. More of a shaking. And once more, the back bend, just be careful. Out breath. In breath, lift up. Then relax. Out breath, relax. Close the eyes. Feel each foot pressing the floor. Earth vibration, solidity, hardness. Feel your breathing, air element. If there's any movements of the body, the air element. Any heat elements. Any painful feelings, feelings. Okay, now bring the feet back together. One last exercise, head turning from right to left. And standing straight on the in breath, turn the head to the right. As far as you comfortably can, try to look over your right shoulder, feel the twist in the neck, feel the painful feeling, uncomfortable feeling. On the out breath, turn the head all the way back to the left, and look over the left shoulder. In breath back to the right. Out breath left. Once more to each side. On the in breath, let the head stop in the middle, close the eyes. Try to feel the outline of the whole body, feet pressing the floor, arms and hands at the sides, clothing touching the skin. Feel your head balanced on top. Feel your eyes in the sockets. Feel all those sensations producing these vibrations of Vedana. Some of them are pleasant sensations, some of them may be irritating or painful. Some of them just neutral sensations. If you recognize anything, that's a perception. Present moment, body-centered awareness. Okay, so now let's come back to our seats and get ready for the sitting. Your friends, get comfortable in your sitting posture. Try to align your spine and the back of your head in a straight line. Try to keep your head, your chin lifted up, level with the floor. Feel your head balanced on top of the spinal column. Just gently close your eyes. So we're moving our attention down to the body to feel the different vibrations, the elements, elemental vibrations. So actually, first of all, just close the eyes, focus your attention down to where your buttocks press the seat. Just feel that weight of the body pressing the seat. That's the earth vibration, that sense of something being hard or solid. Now moving the attention upwards, feel your knees, the way your knees are bent. Might feel where the clothing touches the skin of the knee. It's also the earth vibration. If there's any pain there, that belongs to the feelings aggregate, the unpleasant sensation. Feel your hands and fingers touching together. Again, that's the earth vibration. Skin and flesh pressing together. If you listen very carefully, you might feel the pulse of blood in your hands or fingers. And be the fluid vibration. And take a deep, slow breath. Feel that air vibration, air element, the movement vibration caused by the air moving. But you're also feeling the earth element at the same time, the clothing touching the skin. All these elements are not really separate. They're letting the awareness move upwards to your head. Now feel your lips touching together. Feeling of the lips touching together, the earth vibration. Maybe press your teeth together in the mouth. Feel that hardness of the teeth. It's the earth element, earth vibration. These vibrations go to the brain. You recognize the teeth are different than your hands touching together. There are different vibrations. Your teeth touching together, different from your lips touching together. There may be some saliva in the mouth, the water element. Now take a few deep breaths again. See if you can feel the air moving through your nostrils. Take a deep, slow breath. Try to feel the air moving through the nostrils into the lungs, to feel the lungs expanding. Combination of the air element, the earth element, the expanding rib cage, clothing touching the skin. These are all just vibrations. You recognize it through the perception. Now feel your eyes resting in the sockets, the eyelids stretched over the eyeball. You might notice some subtle eye movements or twitching of the eye muscle. All these are just nervous system vibrations moving through the nervous system, through the brain where they're recognized as being this part of the body or another part. It might be a pleasant feeling or an unpleasant feeling or neutral feeling. Just try to make this a main focus of your mindful attention. You can tune back into the breathing. Just point down the eyes, see if you can feel the outline of the sitting body, sense of the head on top, arms at the sides, clothing touching the skin, buttocks pressing the seat, feet crossed underneath. See if you can hold that outline of the sitting body in the mind's eye, the consciousness. And then begin some deep, slow breathing again, like we did in the yoga session. Feel the expanding and contracting of the abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest, holding the air in for a few moments, and feeling the outgoing air element. Last bit of air going out. Just developing this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Hold the breath a second. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Feel the last bit of air go out. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Let's continue that breathing, just feeling this breathing body, feeling all the different sensations. Just try to identify the elements if they stand out. Earth vibration, air vibration, heat vibration, the fluid vibration. This living, breathing body comprised of these four elemental vibrations. These four elemental vibrations are really just the way that cells, molecules, atoms are tightly compressed, interacting with each other, supporting the life of this body. Just try to think about that while feeling it. Of course, at the same time, be alert for your thoughts moving through their mind. If you want to think about something, just think about these elemental, this body just being the four elemental vibrations, billions of cells, molecules, atoms, electrons. Basically, it's condensed energy. producing all these different sensations. You feel the breathing, the air element, you feel the clothing touching the skin, the earth element. They're all constantly changing. Just feeling this air element going in and out of the body. Keeping this body alive. If you recognize any parts of the body, understand that as memory or perception. Mind turning these elemental vibrations into body parts. This is the time of conception. This body started as a one-cell organism with DNA, and they started dividing over 9 months, creating billions and billions of cells, molecules, atoms, forming all these 4 elemental vibrations, all the body parts. Try to think or imagine that all these elemental vibrations producing these painful or pleasant sensations. You recognize different types of thoughts or emotions going through your mind. This is just the aggregate of sankharas, mental formation. our likes and dislikes, based upon these pleasant and painful sensations. You catch the mind lost in thoughts, take a deep, slow breath. Bring the mind back into the body. Back to in, sitting. Out, out, sitting. Whenever a particular element or aggregate grabs the attention, try to identify it. This is the body aggregate, this is feeling, this perception, this is thinking. If you still have the sense of yourself there, ego consciousness, which is observing all of this. Breathing in, sitting. Breathing out, sitting. So many different sensations coming and going. Pleasant, painful, neutral sensations coming and going. Perceptions coming and go. Thoughts, ideas come and go. Thoughts of I, me, or mine come and go. These are all just the 5 aggregates of body, mind, and world coming and going. Through this 4-element body, with its nervous system, brain and memory. It's constantly changing. Comprised of mostly just habits of the body, habits of the mind. This is the beginning of right understanding. It all started with a 1-cell organism at the moment of conception. And after death, this body will decompose, all of those 4 elements going back to nature. No trace left. Except the consciousness. Sabbe sankhara anicchati yada panyaya pasati atanibindati dukkhi esamago visuddhiya. All conditioned things, the five aggregates of this body, mind, and world are impermanent. They arise only to briefly last, then vanish. When one sees this with the eye of wisdom, one becomes disenchanted with self-created suffering. This is the path to purity, to freedom. And thus spoke the Buddha. Now, friends, I invite you to join in chanting the word sadhu 3 times slowly, and feel those vibrations in your body and mind. We do that chanting on a long out breath. So breathe in. Sadhu. Breathe. Sadhu. Breathe. Now place your hands at the edge of your knees. Take one more deep breath as you breathe in. Stretch your head back. Pull the hands against your knees to arch your spine. Look up to the ceiling and let out the breath. And breathe in, lift the head up, and on an out breath, press your chin to the top of the chest. Stretch the neck vertebra. And lift the chin up level on an in breath. And then relax on an out breath. Put a smile on your face. Okay, friends. I hope that you're able to have a good meditation, or at least some periods of some good mindfulness concentration. And how many could notice some aggregates coming and going there? Any pleasant or painful feelings, any perceptions, any ego consciousness? Okay, so try to practice that during this week, especially now, we have this 4th of July weekend coming up. So I don't know what you'll all be doing, but, if you're living around the DC area, they're having the world's greatest or biggest fireworks show going on. There'll be lots of perceptions, sights and emotions. Anyway, just try to identify any of the aggregates that kind of catch your attention, especially if you're getting caught up in the body. Just be aware of form, element, any feelings, perceptions. And we're having a 4th of July weekend retreat here at the Lion of Wisdom Center. And I'm going to be giving a Dhamma talk on the Saturday, that means the 4th of July, at 2 p.m. And I've decided to broadcast that over Zoom, the same Zoom channel that you're on now, to be the same link. So you can just, find that from the email. It's at 2 p.m. on Saturday. And the title will be sort of Independence, the true meaning of Independence Day from the Dhamma point of view. Guess you can guess what that means. Okay? So until then, this week, be well, be safe, be mindful, be wise. Mindfulness today keeps dukkha away. And Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you, Bhante, so much.
You're welcome.
Namo Buddhaya Bhante Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante.
Joy. See, that's the joy, the enlightenment factor of joy.
Yes, yes, yes. So grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhante.
You're welcome. More next week.